Over the years, Garmin sports watches have evolved from being very sport-specific, running watches, triathlon watches, etc., to covering as many activities as possible. The Fenix line especially has gobbled up a ton of others, and the Fenix 8 particularly is a Joey chestnut of watch eating. Specifically, the Fenix 8 ate the Epix line and took a big bite out of the Descent series diving watches. The result? It's the most versatile sports watch ever made and does its job exceptionally well, though there's still plenty of room for improvement on the smartwatch side of things. Let's start with the hardware. There are a few different modes of the Fenix 8, but all share some basic features. There are 3 physical buttons on the left and 2 on the right, and the buttons are now fully sealed and leak-proof, further supporting its newly added dive capabilities. A touchscreen's up front, so there are multiple ways to navigate through screens, menus, and maps, which is good because touchscreens don't work well when wet or underwater. On the right side of the watch, there's now a speaker and a microphone, which add to its smart capabilities. Up top is an LED flashlight, and underneath is Garmin's sensor suite, featuring a heart rate monitor, pulse oximeter, thermometer, etc. It can also take ECG readings, a feature currently only available in the US. Quickly, it might seem like a small thing, but I have to shout out how wonderful the flashlight feature is. The white LED has 3 intensity levels, and at its brightest, it's enough to find your way on a trail in pitch darkness. It also has a red light mode, which doesn't blast your eyeballs, which I really found helpful when trying to fumble my way to the bathroom in the unfamiliar hotel room I was in last week. There are some key differences between models. The most significant is you get to choose between a bright, colorful, and sharp AMOLED display and a reflective mixed display that not only increases battery life, but also has an integrated solar panel to boost it even further. There are 43mm, 47mm, and 51mm versions of the AMOLED watch, with the 2 larger ones utilizing sapphire crystal glass and titanium bezels. The solar version only comes in the 47mm and 51mm sizes and features solar sapphire glass and titanium. Aside from that, the watches are effectively identical, though the larger versions last longer per charge. Let's have a quick in memoriam for the Epix line and, to some extent, the Descent. The Epix, which debuted a few years ago, was identical to the Fenix, but with an AMOLED screen, so merging these two makes sense. RIP Epix. Pulling features from the Descent line, most significantly, adding a depth gauge is massive for casual divers. The Fenix 8 has just about all the features a recreation diver needs from a dive computer, including dive planning, auto start when you dive past 4 feet, air and nitrox modes, GPS for entry or exit, descent or ascent alerts, safety stop warnings, no decompression limit, a compass, dive time, depth, and more. It has modes for scuba, apnea, and snorkeling. If you really dive a ton and want advanced features like integrated wireless tank monitoring, then the Descent is probably the watch you want. For most folks, the more svelte Fenix 8 will integrate better into your daily life. Speaking of integrating it, I've barely taken this watch off for the month I've been testing it. I've opted for the 47mm AMOLED version, which is the Goldilocks of size and functionality to me. While it doesn't last as long as the solar version, it gets a whopping 15 days per charge. If you're coming from an Apple or Android Wear smartwatch, that's huge, especially considering it only takes an hour to recharge and you're back at it. Of course, using more GPS-intensive activities will drain it a bit faster, but it's still stellar. For activity tracking, it's absolutely superb. I used it for tracking runs, hikes, cardio, strength training, swimming, surfing, snowboarding, a Pilates class, and free diving. Not only does it provide a ton of data during workouts, but Garmin's data fields are more customizable than any other sports watches out there. So you can really get it to display exactly what you want if it isn't already there by default. While free diving, I could read exactly how deep I was, how long I'd been underwater, and how long it would recommend that I stay at the surface to allow my blood to re-oxygenate between dives. For hiking, it comes pre-installed with colorful topographic maps that are easy to navigate using the buttons and touchscreen, and I could use features like TrackBack to guide me back to my car. The running mode uses the altimeter to understand when you're going uphill, so it doesn't scold you for being slower than usual. Surfing not only counts and measures my waves ridden, but it integrates with Surfline to make it easy to download videos of my rides from breaks where they have webcams set up. This watch covers virtually any sport or activity. Across all these modes, GPS acquisition was fast and accurate. It also lets you download music from sources like Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube Music and play it through paired Bluetooth earbuds. Garmin Pay will enable you to store a credit card on the watch for tap payments so you can leave your phone at home. It also features weather forecasts, sunrise or sunset times, moon phases, barometric pressure, and tides. On the smartwatch side, I would say it's as good as it gets for a sports watch. But if you're hoping for the same deep integration you get with an Apple Watch plus iPhone or a Pixel Watch plus Android phone, you'll be frustrated. Even more so if you're on the Apple side. The watch does a nice job of displaying incoming notifications for iPhones and Androids, and the text is very easy to read on the Ammo LED display. It's also easy to pick and choose which apps can or can't display notifications on your watch, so you don't get distracted by unimportant things. The Fenix 8 now features a sort of very simple offline voice assistant. Long pressing the upper right button activates the microphone, and you can give it some very basic commands. Things like start a run, start pool swim, set alarm for 7:30 a.m., show me the weather, and set a timer for 15 minutes, which usually work without a hitch. That being said, anything more advanced than that is met with silence. Responding to messages is also a bit vexing. Apple doesn't allow Garmin to access the APIs needed for sending messages, so if you've got an iPhone, you can't reply to incoming messages unless you convince your friends to start a Garmin Messenger account, which will be a hard sell. Of course, there is the price. These watches are $1,000 for the 43mm version, $1,100 for the 47mm version, and $1,200 for the 51mm version, which means they're absolutely premium sports watches. The Fenix 8 is the most expensive model in the Fenix line. That said, it's much deeper than the Descent. So if diving is a big deal to you, this gets you most of those features at a significant discount.